$930 billion of credit card debt. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. All right, now in this video, I want to discuss the details of a new report that was released showing just how much credit card debt we collectively have right here in this country and some other statistics, because this is simply not sustainable and these numbers are absolutely massive. So let's get into it and talk about what they're now saying. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video, as it's totally free to do so. And because I am your one and only daily advocate, I'm here for you right by your side each and every day, watching all this new information hitting the wire, doing the research and breaking it all down into these short videos so you can stay updated with what's actually going on, as things continue to change very, very rapidly right now. And it's a very uncertain time with everything that's changing so incredibly fast. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, so you don't miss any videos going forward. And also remember, I'm here for you in any way that I can be. That's my dedication, that's my commitment, and as always, that is my promise to you and everybody right here in the community. All right, let's get into it and talk about the $930.6 billion in credit card debt, as well as the other statistics that were just released in this report. All right, now this is in reference to the fourth quarter of 2022, as this is the latest report that came out on credit card balances. They found that the American consumer, as in all of us collectively, are sitting on $930.6 billion in credit card debt, which is actually up 18% since the year prior. That's a huge increase. Now, this is a record amount of credit card debt that we are currently sitting on right here in this country. Now, here's the other interesting part about this. They also found that the average balance is sitting a little bit over $5,800. They also ran some calculations on this and said, conservatively speaking, considering that the interest rates on credit cards right now are well over 20%, the average credit card interest rate, they're simply saying that if we average this out at a 20% interest rate on credit cards, somebody just paying the minimum balance on this credit card, and again, having an average balance of $5,800, it would take 17 years to pay off this balance, and the person collectively would pay a little bit over $8,300 in interest. But wait, I thought the balance was $5,800. It is. But basically what they're saying is, with this, the current interest rates of about 20%, again, being a little bit conservative, with a balance of $5,800, just paying the minimum, 17 years later, not only would the balance be paid off, but then an additional $8,300 of interest would also be paid. Super sad situation, right? That is the reality of this whole situation that is going on right now. Now, again, the report also went on to show that just in the fourth quarter of 2022, this is a crazy number in my opinion, 202 million new credit cards were opened. I almost can't even wrap my head around that. 202 million new credit cards just in the fourth quarter of 2022. Something seems weird about that. I kept looking at the number thinking, there's got to be a typo. They really meant to say 2 million, like 2.02 million. Nope, they're saying 202 million new credit cards were opened in the fourth quarter of 2022. Again, that's what the report is saying. I'm still having a really hard time kind of wrapping my head around that and realizing, did that really happen? That is a ton. So basically what that means is just under 2 out of every 3 people walking around the country right now opened up a credit card in the fourth quarter. I keep looking back thinking, wait, did I open up a credit card in the fourth quarter? Because I open some credit cards pretty regularly. In fact, I have multiple different credit cards, and I do kind of open new credit cards on a pretty regular pace. And I had to think back for a second, but wait, was I one of those people? I don't think I opened a credit card in the fourth quarter of 2022, but I certainly did open a few in 2022 alone, but I don't think any of them were in the fourth quarter. But anyway, I thought that was a very interesting statistic. That is craziness right there, right? So it's only a matter of time here before we're actually at $1 trillion collectively of credit card debt in this country. And just remember, this is just credit card debt. If we add up all the debt in this country across credit cards, mortgages, auto loans, personal loans, I mean, all the debt that we have in this country collectively, and obviously including credit card debt, we're sitting at about $16 trillion in consumer debt in this country. It's simply not sustainable, right? Having this much debt is not necessarily a good thing. Now, don't get me wrong. Having zero debt in this country is also not feasible. It's just that's not realistic at all. We will always be in debt in this country, but again, having this much at this given time is not really a good situation. Now, what also they found in this report as well, they went on to show that as of right now and as of the most recent reports, 64% of the population is living paycheck to paycheck. And they've also found that about 50% of those people earning six figures, as in $100,000 or more, are also living paycheck to paycheck in this country. When was the last time that we were at these huge numbers that we're dealing with right now? Well, it hasn't been for a very long time, right? So these numbers continue to increase as we continue to see this inflation really biting, and we continue to see that the interest rates on all of this that's going on right now, like credit cards, is just literally making it harder and harder for the vast majority of consumers right now to really make ends meet. And that's also what the report was showing, is that so many people are living paycheck to paycheck right now because of a few different things. Number one, incomes, whatever your income comes from. It could be a job, it could be fixed income benefits, it literally doesn't matter. Income is not keeping up with the real cost of living. In other words, this year in 2023, maybe you got a 2% raise. Maybe you got a 3% raise. Maybe you got a 4, 5, 6% raise. Or maybe, like fixed income beneficiaries, maybe you got an 8.7% raise. But what realistically is happening is that the cost of living your increases in income are not keeping up with that real cost of living, as in food prices, for example, are up still about 12% on a year-over-year basis. We also know that shelter is up about 8.3% on a year-over basis. Shelter being rent prices are still up about 8.3%. So again, that's simply showing that any money that you're getting extra this year, as in a raise to your income this year in 2023, is basically all going out the window when it comes to inflation on all of these things. Increases in interest rates on credit cards. So if you're carrying a balance, you're paying more and more interest, as in more money just literally going right out the window, going to somebody else's pocket in interest, right? So that is what it's coming down to when it comes down to credit cards and mortgages. Yes, they're still very high as well with interest rates on them. To be fair, they have come down a little bit here over the last couple months. They were sitting at about over 7%, and now they're sub 6% or very low 6% as of right now. So yes, interest rates on mortgages have come down a little bit, but still historically pretty high, considering about a year ago we were sitting at about 3% on a 30-year fixed. Yeah, right. So interest rates have gone up about double just in the last year or so. So again, craziness that's everything's going on with this. But anyway, this is the report that I want to share with you because we need to stay tuned with what is actually going on here and the real statistics that are being released on all this, because can you clearly see the picture that is being painted right now? It's pretty clear, right? We can clearly see there is a massive amount of debt in this country. The vast majority of people out there, 64% living paycheck to paycheck, even six-figure income earners living paycheck to paycheck. We can clearly see this is a picture that is not going to end very well, right? So what it really comes down to is a lot of this debt needs to be purged. You've possibly heard that before, though. But this is something that many people talk about, and something that we've heard about many times before, is that the whole purpose of recessions and why recessions actually happen, it's like a big reset, right? So when you hear the word recession, rather than thinking of it like, oh my, doom and gloom, think of a recession as, oh, the big reset is coming. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because a lot of times it purges some of this debt. And that's a good thing, because we need to get rid of some of this debt in order to give people the leeway and, again, a little bit more of a runway to be able to kind of take off again with their finances and kind of get back on stable ground. Until we get to that point, it's going to be more kind of rough road ahead. But again, we'll have to see what happens this year. It is still very early in the year as of right now, but according to the numbers, according to what people are suggesting, is that this year is going to be an ugly one when it comes down to the economy, the stock market, and economic growth, economic contractions, recession, reset, whatever we want to call it. They're still suggesting that this year is probably going to be a pretty bad one. But again, it's still very early in the year right now as of, to know what might actually happen. But either way, we've got to continue watching these reports out there, even though we look at these reports and think, but wait, we continue to see all this debt coming in, more credit card debt, people are struggling, but yet nothing is happening. Yeah, right. It's still kind of setting the stage, right? So either way, I wanted to bring this to you just so you can clearly see what is really going on, and these reports that are coming out showing real consumer debt in this country. And this is a major issue, right? Because if the consumer does not have money, and if we're racking up our credit cards and if we're maxing out our balances and things like this, can we really go out and spend more if we're already spending money we don't have by floating it on credit cards? Well, not really, right? And what does the economy need in order to be strong and robust and things like that? It needs consumer spending, it needs business spending, it needs all of that. But if the consumer is not financially stable and does not have any money to spend, how is the economy going to be very strong, right? If we don't have money to plow into the economy through our spending, then how can there be a strong, robust economy? There can't, right? There can't be. And again, how can businesses go out and spend money? Well, first off, they need to get some revenues, right? So yes, they can invest so much into their businesses by, research and development and expansion and inventory and innovation, things like that. But it can only go so far until they start to get some sales and get some revenue coming in so they can take that money and pay off some of their loans or debts or whatever they have. And then again, roll that money back into the economy. They can only do so much. They only have so much money to spend before they say, okay, now we got to get some people coming in here buying our products or services to make sure that we can continue to keep the lights on and keep the doors open for another day. So you kind of see how this whole system works? Yeah, right? It's a big old system, and it's a big old vicious circle that keeps going round and round, and at some point, the whole thing might break down, right? So anyway, I just want to bring this to your attention. I thought it was very, very interesting. I'm always intrigued by these types of reports because they're such massive numbers. I mean, these are huge, huge numbers that we're talking about. Almost $1 trillion of credit card debt alone. Craziness, right? And it shows just how much the consumer is really struggling right now. Either way, I'm here for you in any way that I can be. Please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day, and I'll catch you again later in the next video.